I'd like to call our special board meeting of May 5th, 2014 to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Kuderick?
Present.
Ms. Bowles is on her way. Ms. Kraut?
Here.
Mr. Deed is absent, excused. Ms. Funderburg?
Here.
Ms. Beard?
Here.
Ms. Buckley is here.
Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion for approval of the agenda, please?
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Support. I have a motion by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Kraut. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item on our agenda is review of superintendent applications, and we have Marie Miller here with MASB.
Top button.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Well, it's been a few weeks since we met, and a little bit of activity, actually a lot of activity, and hopefully hopefully the board members had enough time to review the multitude of applications. Just as an overview, and interrupt at any time, there are 23 applications. A depth and breadth of applications from basically building principal experience to long-sitting superintendents. Some currently employed, a couple are, it appears, retired. And if I forget, remind me to come back to that, because there was something in one application that I want to make sure that the board is clear what MASB's perspective is on that.
Okay.
A majority of the candidates had either superintendent or assistant superintendent experience. The experience level is there. Out of state applicants included those from Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, and as far away as Arizona. So you do have those. I'm sure the board members recognize some of the names that some people had applied previously and are continuing their interest in the district. And there were two things. First of all, one question came up as to whether salary was an issue for any of the candidates. And as I had shared with the board, I attempted to contact any of them who had in their profile were looking for a salary that was was well above that of the what the district was prepared to offer. And there is one candidate who I contacted, and find that email. And it would be candidate number. And just as a reminder, we're going to refer to everyone as numbers. But candidate number 4. His response back was the salary would be probably tough because of the geographic area. In some other areas of Michigan, that and even a little less would work for our family. Unfortunately, I will have to pull my name for this one.
So,
Okay.
so number
considered-
4.
So number 4 has number 4 was looking for a salary in the range of $155,000 to $160,000.
So number 4 voluntarily withdrew?
I just quoted exactly what the email said. They did not, now this was well before, because this was an April 11th date, they didn't go in and physically pull their applications, that's why you're seeing that application. However, that was what the person said, is that for the salary that the board was prepared to offer, they wouldn't be able to relocate their family.
Well, when I saw that he was used to a district with 29,000 students, I thought, well, that's not really in our area of numbers.
And that was one reason why I made that contact to double check if that was really what they were looking for. The other candidate was candidate number 5. And for candidate number 5, their response was that they still wanted to be considered. However, they were currently in their current position making around $155,000 to $160,000. And that, again, the answer was, for that one, that would depend on, it might be negotiable and dependent on the entire package. In other words, what kind of staff they would have to work with and support. But again, that, you know, for candidate number 5, salary could be the issue. There were a couple of others that had an ideal salary above what the board was prepared to answer, but they had said that they would still interested in being considered for the position.
So I think we should scratch 5 too.
All right, you got it.
All right. She didn't say that, and I just.
Scratch before I came.
All right.
The other
Actually,
thing
her
that I
grades were
wanted to
lower.
make a note of, and I'm sure you noted it in candidate number 10. Candidate number 10, it did indicate that because they were retired, that they, should they be the successful candidate, the board would not be responsible for health care or retirement costs.
Yeah, I read that.
Okay, the only thing I want to caution the board is that from MASB's perspective and advice, that the superintendent must be an employee of the district.
Right.
Okay, so whatever the ramifications of that now,
You would
someone,
still have to pay retirement if he was an employee, right?
that is my understanding, yes.
It's
so-
public employee.
They have to be
Right.
an employee. Now, if someone is retired and wants to come back, they can suspend their retirement, go back in, and, you know, so that's a possibility. That letter did not read that way, so it looked like you were going to save money. I just wanted to make sure I cleared that with Brad Banasic from MASB to be sure about that. So just so you're aware, okay?
Well, you
Now,
would
don't we
think-
have a couple others that are retired as well? I know we have, okay.
There were a couple that look like they are either retired, a couple are not retired, but are not currently
Working.
working in public, in a school district.
Okay. I thought there was somebody that was retired. Let me look.
But number 10, I mean, you said retirement and medical, so medical we could avoid, but retirement we'd have to pay because they're an employee.
That is my
That's
understanding.
the way I look at it, I think too.
Well, you're gonna have
I
to
think
scratch
that's
it.
kind of, yeah.
We don't have any choice.
Or the person would have to basically come out of, retirement. So if it's somebody, all I'm saying is if that's a situation, you're gonna wanna know that you'll have to negotiate, the person would have to be willing to come back. And I will be perfectly honest, it is my understanding there are some districts that are employing superintendents that are contracting for superintendent positions. However, it is the Office of Retirement Services perspective that they must be employed. And so there's an awareness. I did ask the question, would the liability be upon the district? And they said, actually, the liability is upon the person who's being employed. So
So some districts are hiring them as a subcontractor, as a superintendent, right?
they were. I don't know if they currently still are, but that's my understanding.
So
And
I think, doesn't it say in our policy and everything in the MASB, even some laws that said that person has to be a district employee. You couldn't subcontract that one out or outsource or anything like
Yep.
that.
My understanding of the law is that basically the superintendent must be employed by the district or by the intermediate school district. So you can have a superintendent through the intermediate school district. But you can't do other positions, you can do contracted services consultants. But it comes back to that hire and retire and rehire clause. And so it would depend on the retirement packages. I think that basically covers what I'd gone through. There's one internal candidate, the rest are external candidates. And unless you have other questions, as you're reading through the applications. Then what we had talked about earlier, hearing no questions, and again, if there's something that comes up, talked about earlier was that the board members would rank their choices of candidates individually and come tonight prepared with that ranking. And Mr. Theed did send me his, and his note said that he was trying to clear his schedule, but did not know that he could do that. So asked me to share his information with the board. And
See, I guess I'm not ready to really rank until after an interview. I don't know, it's just from the paper.
But we have to select who you're gonna
Right.
interview
Right,
tonight.
so
That-
that's
we just
what
rank
you-
whether or not
Five or
that's
seven, or
what-
how many we're gonna select?
that would be the question as to how many, and let's, kind of talk again about going forward. I think the number of candidates that you want to interview is going to depend on where it, as you, to see how close the board members are. You may all agree on one candidate and only one candidate is your first choice, and it may pretty well narrow the field very quickly. I don't expect that will happen.
So how do you want to do it? You just want to, like, candidate number whatever, who likes that one, raise their hand, or you want to ask each one of us what numbers we?
My recommendation would be for the board to decide how many you want to start with,
Well,
and I would not start with more than 6.
I would say let everybody put their numbers out there, and then we can say, well, maybe I got one that only has one, that I'm the only one that liked them.
Is anybody prepared to do their top 3 at this point?
No.
I just,
got
I
10.
put the 5 that I like.
Okay, you may have top 10. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want to narrow more than to 10. Because realistically, either that or you're going to have more than 2 nights of interviews, because you're talking about a 2-hour interview. So I think unless everybody says there are 10 candidates there that you absolutely cannot reduce them out. Again, because depending on, you're right, you're talking about paper, and, so of what's on paper, and I think you found last time that sometimes what's on paper and what comes out when they're actually interviewed, there's a difference, so.
So how do you want, I mean, do you want me to just give you the 5 numbers that I like, and then go to the next one? Is that how we're gonna do that? I mean, and see what
Some of
compares.
us might have,
Right.
might have the
Okay,
same.
I can only get one conversation at a time, okay. Ms. Bowles?
I said I can't do 5 because some of mine's tied. So
No, we're not saying that. We're just saying, like, does she want me to give you my numbers that I like, and then go to you, and you can
Oh,
give,
we
if
can
you
do
got
that.
10, 12, if you got
Yeah,
20 of
got
them,
that.
whatever, and maybe you can find out, maybe there's 3 people that like some of the ones that she likes, or
Yeah,
maybe there's,
if you
nobody
can
likes mine.
narrow it to your top 6,
well, can I say one thing? I know I was looking through some of them and I saw a couple of them had came from charter schools. So I didn't know how y'all felt. So when I saw that, I just kind of threw
I
it to
put
the
question
side.
marks. You put question marks or whatever, yeah.
And then I saw one that had
Poor thing.
misspelled.
No, she's still so.
Yeah, you can write on that with
all
it. Make sure it's an erasable marker.
Tamika, you
I
want
got
some
some
water
here if you
here?
need it.
I'm okay.
Here.
I'm okay.
I haven't drunk out of it.
These are erasable markers.
I don't want to have to go to the
Let me
bathroom
take yours, I
12
don't know what
times.
those are.
If they're over there, I would imagine. If you want to move
I
it,
would think that they're-
Nigga, I was on the same
if you
line
want to
with
move
you
it
on that.
closer to there, you can too.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
my
so maybe
concern.
they, I don't know if they can capture, that way they can capture it on camera.
Well, that way we can at least see it a little bit better too.
I guess we should have pulled that over beforehand.
Then I know it was
Sorry
one in
about
there
that,
had
Marie.
misspelling words. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah,
The word school was spelled SCHOOOL. So I was like, I'm done.
What number?
And that was kind of one of the things I had said, that look at the, you know, when you're trying to make those
Dates.
decisions, some of it is look at the dates of letters of recommendation.
They're so old.
Some were not dated,
Some weren't dated.
Well,
There was a lot of them that
which-
were not dated at all.
and some were old. And anything more, very honestly, than a year, year and a half, well, 18 months old is considered an old letter of recommendation. Now, if someone has the recommendations in and then has those in addition for a reason, then that's one thing. But when all of them are that old, that kind of is a trigger point. Those that had some either grammatical errors or some typographical errors that were pretty glaring. So those are kind of easy ways to say, okay, if it's weighing between the two, because this is an important application.
Spell check is a beautiful thing.
How about if I start, I'll start with,
Tamika, which one was it that had the typograph? I mean, I remember seeing it. Oh, yeah, okay.
I like two too, and I didn't
I
notice
did
that.
too.
You know
You know
what? I didn't even notice that.
See, and what I noticed
You
then,
read, you
too,
read every page.
was
you
that
can
he
get-
didn't
you
have
catch
a
it.
lot
notice-
of local
I was looking at so much
involvement, but he
stuff.
had a lot of county involvement. And I guess I'm looking for somebody that's heavy into local involvement.
Oh, number. Number two.
Like if you look at,
That's
like,
fair.
he was member of the county this and county that and county this and county that. Well, I want somebody that's
It was one
members of
higher one.
more local stuff.
Did you want me to start them, Marie? I'll give you the
sure.
ones that I've, no particular order.
okay.
Okay, it's just, number 1, 12, 15, 20, and 22.
Let me do Mr. Theeds next.
Okay.
And again, I don't think these were in any particular order. I'm just going to put them in the order that they came out.
But we'll see, because I'm flexible.
Teresa, can I look at the handwritten ones for just a minute?
I think
Okay, if you can read my writing, 1, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 15. Who wants to go next?
Anybody ready to read off which ones they select?
I'm ready. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you want me to get down to
Would it be better if you did like a chart and put all the numbers? in
I was
there?
going,
Okay.
I was going to do that.
let's do,
You want to redo it? Because I can, that way it'll be easier.
Ms. Peck is going to, is tracking it that way.
That
Oh,
way, at
okay,
least,
cool.
because it'll get confusing
And-
trying to figure out
right.
how many we got. Look like 1, 6, 8, 12, 13, and 15 is what John.
1, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, and 15.
I think I'm ready.
10 and 12. All I can give mine, I
I
guess.
think, me too, yeah.
Go ahead.
1, 2, okay, just leave it. 1, 2, 8, 12, 15, and 18. How many did I give you? 6?
3, 6. Do you have another one? Did you have another one that you wanted to add?
I got, okay, no, just go ahead.
Okay.
All right,
Give you mine.
I think I'm ready.
2, 7, 11,
Question mark.
15, 17, 22. And I have a lot of question marks, but if I had to add one more, I would add 12. I do have questions,
You're adding 12?
yeah.
You want 12 added?
Yeah, put 12 in there. I'm sorry.
Real iffy on number.
You ready for me?
Can you put 11 on? No, no.
You want,
I got a
we're gonna
question
come,
mark.
I'm gonna come back to, what I'm
Let me
going to
look. Just
try
let me
and do
read it
is
again.
eliminate some of them
I need
when
to
we
have question
finish this, then we'll
marks
come
on
back to
some of
those.
I got question marks everywhere. Let me look at this lady
I've
again.
got some
Okay.
definite
Are you ready,
no's.
Tamika?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
ready.
go ahead.
Okay.
I got, number 7, 23, number 1, number 10, number 12, number 22, 17, and number 20.
I really like number 7 too, but
Okay,
you know what, Tamika,
You
you
do-
do 7.
I'm the last one then.
I don't think I have Sandy yet. Ms. Kraut.
That's what I was, my question.
Do you want me to go ahead, Sandy, or do you want to go next?
You go ahead, because I'm still trying, that's why I thought it'd be quicker for me with the
You know,
papers.
because I'm
Okay.
like,
I had a couple of questions and
I have,
can you add 7 to mine,
Yeah, I like
please? Oh,
Put it right there, so.
yeah, that's probably me, who knows?
okay, I have,
I like that too.
number 1, number 2, 10, 11, 15, 18. We have a ghost.
Is that it, everybody?
Sandy?
No, I
Ms.
still have
Kraut.
to do mine.
Pardon?
you need more time.
I have question marks still.
Cause see, I think that,
This is serious.
I didn't think about number 10 being retired, and I want somebody that's gonna stay with the school, and not somebody that's retired and just gonna come back to work for a year or two.
Well, that's the best thing about there's 7 people, we got 7 different opinions. So if you like 10, put 10 on there. I mean, that's your choice, Sandy.
Right.
Nobody's saying you can't put it on there, it's your
You
opinion.
can do whatever you want, and we could talk about it.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna go with 1, 2,
'Cause I am like,
7,
they're all kind of
8, 12. No, I really liked 11. Did budget reductions and 4,700, saw that too.
Give us a number and that's fine.
11, 12.
15.
That's the one that pulled out, wasn't it?
Which one?
Number 11. Wasn't that the one that pulled out?
number 10. Well, number 10 is the one.
But 10's up there, that's why I wondered.
No, 10 didn't pull out.
Number 4 was the one that pulled.
4 has
4 and
withdrawn.
5.
4, and then
withdrew.
5 said salary was, but.
Number
se-
10, but I
He
thought
was
number
re-
10 was
He
the
was
one.
retired.
He's
He
retired.
said he was gonna not be an employee, but the
No,
MASB says they
he
have to
didn't
be an
say he
employee.
was not going to be
He said
employed.
he
What
could save money on retirement and medical because he's already retired, but according to Michigan law, we
we
can't take
can't
him
do it
as a
that way.
subcontractor. He
me,
has to
that's-
So,
pay
what,
tax.
which means that what that means in reality is if that becomes the choice and someone who the board chooses to interview, that would very honestly be the question the board would need to ask that candidate immediately is, or that would be the
Is that a
call
breaker?
that you can direct me to ask that before the interview. Are you willing to, basically come out of, that the board's intention is to employ the superintendent per Michigan law, are you still willing and interested? That would be, if that number comes down to
I
that.
looked at, as retired, an hour's drive is not a lot, but I'm wanting someone who's gonna be closer to the community and doing more with the community, and I don't think you would relocate for an hour. Where if you were in Illinois or Ohio, you'd have no choice, you'd have to, family, we're going, I gotta put food on the table.
Right.
Pay the bills.
I missed one, number 11. Did I have number 11 on there? I'm the one with probably the most.
I think
I think one.
That's me, with the 20 on it, and 22, and yeah.
There's no 11 there. You want 11 also?
Yeah, I had 11, I missed it.
Yeah, I like 11 too. I had 2 chicks.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Make a copy of it, yep, and then what I'm gonna try, pardon? Why don't you make a copy for all board members, and they can just write from that copy. And what we'll be doing is taking a look at that and seeing, are there some that we can eliminate, that nobody has even said the number, so if we can actually scratch those, it'll start to narrow it down a little bit.
well, if their number's not up there, they're eliminated.
I would say.
I mean, you want us to go through that now?
It probably will be easier when
Because-
Ms. Peck comes back with the sheet, because it'll be really easy to see which.
Because I know
which
number
ones-
three didn't get any votes.
Right, 3 didn't, 4 did not.
4 didn't, 5 didn't, 9 didn't.
Nope, 5 did.
5 did.
John, I
Oh,
think, had
okay.
number 5.
But I don't think,
That's the
Jo-
one that. I thought
that's the one, that- but,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Oh,
I
no,
don't
he
think,
didn't
Jo-
have 5, I'm sorry, yeah.
who had 5?
No, he didn't have 5,
Nobody's got 5 up there.
right.
Okay, 5. 9 is, nobody had 9. Nobody had 13, 14, 16, 19, and 21.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You want me to go over them numbers again? Or you gonna? I had,
Do it,
okay, 3, 4, and 5, 9, 13, 14,
wait a minute,
16,
wait a minute, 5, 9,
Jeez.
9, 13,
okay,
14,
yeah,
16, 19, and 21.
Okay.
okay.
All I did was cross them off on the list that you
Right.
gave me, that's all.
Before we put these to rest, why doesn't everybody take a look at those, make sure that you're comfortable with eliminating those one more time?
I mean, out of 7 members, not one of us picked one, not even got one check mark on them, so. I know there's a few of them.
I know, that's what I'm doing, I'm going
Number
back 'cause I
4,
can't.
number 4 really basically said he was gonna pull his name off it because the salary was a problem.
Correct.
Number 5 too, pretty much.
Number 5 said they would discuss it kinda, didn't he?
Yeah, but
Yes,
she,
they-
but
But
she up
he thinks
there.
it's gonna be,
Yeah, but she,
yeah. that's-
Okay.
But I mean, they didn't say they were gonna pull it, but,
yeah, but we can't offer what they, nothing.
Right.
Close. So that's a done deal.
Real cool with this one.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with this list. We made a lot of progress. It's funny how some of us,
quite a few of us picked a lot of the same ones, so.
Again, we're gonna have to narrow it more than just, what did I say, 9 are out? 3, 6, 9, out of the 23, so you're still at
Well,
14. So,
Well, what-
but if you look at this,
well, can we do this, Marie? Can we go down the list of the ones we got and see what the consensus goes with? Because I mean,
yeah,
there's,
my thought is, why don't we take a look at those that have only 1 mark,
yeah, that's what, yeah. Yep, yep.
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Nope.
Number 6?
Number 6 has only got one, so
I'm
that's,
good.
Where's Tamika? That
Oh,
was,
I know where
that
she
was John Theeds.
Correct.
No.
And that is one of the candidates that you interviewed before.
John probably will. Okay. He'll probably go with whatever, since he's not here.
I mean,
Let me just, let me find his email here. Okay.
this is what we all do.
Who is that he?
I would think the fair way would be to just eliminate the ones that only had one. And then talk about the ones that only had two.
There's
Right.
number 6 and number 13, so those should go.
That's my sheet. This is.
Well,
Ms. Bowles, what we've done is, I think,
Right.
and I'm not sure if you were here, these are the ones that the board basically has eliminated, those candidates, because basically they got
There are
no
no
votes
votes,
at all,
yeah,
okay? And now before you, you have a chart that has transcribed it, and it makes it a little bit easier to see where the basically where the majority, because you have some pretty strong candidates. So my suggestion is taking a look at those that only have one and discuss the merits of whether you want to continue with that one or not, with one or two. So if the first one, if we can go to, would be candidate number 6.
does anybody else, I mean, John was the only one that picked him, but, I mean, everybody here, else 6, nobody,
I'd say,
I'm not interested, so.
I'm not either.
okay.
Nope.
So we're taking 6 off too?
I got a memory.
You good with taking 6 off, Tamika? How about you, Sandy?
Yep.
Okay, so right now we've eliminated
You have to ask.
3, 4,
Marie's on the
5,
floor now.
6,
Yep, everybody agrees 6.
9,
Yep, 14.
14,
What
16.
about 13?
Wait a minute, haven't got that one yet.
16,
19 and 21,
19, and 21.
right.
Okay? So now the other one that has 1 is the 13.
And that's
I'm
Cheryl's.
good
I
with
mean,
that.
you're good with taking it off?
Did I say 13?
Yeah.
Did I?
No, that's John.
I said that
Yes.
wasn't me.
That's John. John said 13,
I
but
am very sure of that one. No.
13.
23 also has only one.
well, yeah, but we gotta get 13 first. We keep jumping around, we'll never get
Right.
that. So,
Okay.
I thought
Okay, so 13 is off.
Yep.
Teresa.
I'm sorry.
Now, again, we're taking them off if someone at the end decides that you want to go back and revisit. This isn't a permanent, it's just, it's a sifting. And then the other one with only 1 vote
23,
was 23.
yep. Tamika, we got, you got any defense or comments on 23?
Okay,
Are you good
Go
with
ahead,
taking them off? Okay.
Got off the freeway as soon as I could video, just to show my face, to show, I really do
that you're interested.
care about what you guys are doing. So at least I did, some notes I need, I gotta go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
And we
you.
appreciate your coming.
Thanks.
Thank you. I just
Drive
don't
carefully.
feel rude being late.
No, you were fine. You're fine, you're good. Thank you.
Oh, wait, we got rid of 2.
May 20th?
23, we haven't got rid of 2 yet.
We got rid
At
of
May
20.
20th.
May
that's-
20th
that's
is
what I
five
asked
thirty.
you
about.
Because it's
You
started the
you voted for
interviews.
23, you were the only one, so that's what we asked you.
Bye-bye.
23 was good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong number.
Okay,
Can
are you
go
okay
s-
with keeping, do you want to get rid of 23?
No.
You want to keep it in there?
Yeah.
Okay, can you just, one more time, read all the ones we've eliminated? again?
Sure.
Thank you.
Currently, you've eliminated 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 13, 14, 16, 19, 21.
19
And 21.
and 21. Okay, 20, okay.
So the only thing we've been working on so far is either they had 0 or they had 1 so far. And then we're now down to 23. And
Can we kind of go a little bit different direction and put the ones that a majority voted on, so we can probably limit it down to how many we're gonna,
Was 23 eliminated, or was that?
Well, I
being
just
done?
know that the comment on 23, that even when went into deficit, hit me wrong when they made that comment.
What was that?
23, yeah, I made that comment and I wrote it down and I thought,
where did you see that at?
it's in there, I'm not sure where, but
It's, wait a minute, I'll show you, let's see, I saw it, wait a minute.
It's on page 414.
I want somebody
looking at
that
it.
doesn't like deficit. And if they know they're going into it, says, hey, no.
Scroll.
Was that on the resume?
Yeah, I got 'em.
It was in one of the letters or something, I'm not sure
Each
exactly.
page. I'm looking right
And
now.
then,
I don't know how to do it.
14 still.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not,
I'm going the wrong way.
he's on page. I can tell you,
414 is
four-
where they're
I
at.
got
You
415,
good?
yeah.
Just keep
what are
pushing.
you talking about?
You on
Which way?
407
23.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
page 414.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what Sandy was talking about.
Let me find it. And
Back to 12.
well, mine stopped. Now what do I do? Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, sometimes they need to catch up with you. You're going too fast.
Is it in his letter?
Maybe not. Maybe it was in the stuff.
Just kind
Well, we'll find it if it's in there.
of wasn't seasoned enough.
Because he's curriculum director right now.
Hold on.
I
See if
think
can find my area. Okay, I'm on
question was
23.
his career.
Compliments.
Yeah.
Start off with
Here it
music
is.
and
Number 3 under
central
accomplishments.
office.
Yep.
Hey,
See, student education, not waiting the
With
line to decide
decreased
the fund, and
funding.
most educational leaders I have forward of us, that continues.
Open many new programs and educational initiatives even when we went into deficit. I guess
That
I
rubbed
want
you the wrong
somebody
way.
that's gonna get me out of deficit. I don't want anybody talking
Yeah,
about going.
I,
rubbed
you know,
you the wrong
that's,
way.
that's not how I read that. What I read was that even though they were in a deficit, they were still able to offer,
Yeah, that's the
found
way I
a,
would've
found
took
a
it.
Yeah,
way
that's how I
to, I don't think it was saying,
We were in
uh,
deficit, but it was.
and I can tell you that the district that refers to did not increase their deficit. They have moved to, because that's what I was looking at in some of those districts, although that person was not the superintendent, but that their deficit was,
Yeah, because if you
from
keep
the, when
reading
they
it,
started, it decreased continually,
if you
so
read,
that
if
they
you read
moved
the
it in.
second line, it says the power of using your community resources can lead you to great benefits. So I mean, they're saying they were in deficit,
What
but how
page are
they
you
were able
on?
to use
It's
other
on,
resources to still give the students.
But see, I look at it, a lot of them, they went out and they got
Professional accomplishment?
sinking funds and stuff. We've already maxed our
Yeah, we've done what we could
taxpayers
there.
out.
Okay, I'm
all
on that.
that.
Okay.
So he can't
I'm
come
there.
and do
Oh, there it
that
is, I got it.
and increase
Thank you.
the community contributing more, because we've already asked the residents for a lot.
Yeah, we're not gonna get too much more blood out of
And
the
I think-
tournament. Turnip.
They're losing their homes as it
Well,
is.
if Tamika feels that strongly about it,
No,
then we should leave it
I
on
was
there.
looking at when I was looking at our needs. So I went through and looked at number 4, our evidence of experience and knowledge in, and I just went through and tried to find pick everybody that
Had
is in
those
there.
things.
So when I looked, the first thing I saw in the curriculum director part of his resume is he said led curriculum instruction, yada yada yada. So I
Right.
figured, okay, let me get all the ones that specify what we need, and I go back through it again and pick out.
Yeah, I went through it, and I went back, and then I went
So I
back.
looked at how many yeses I got in that area and picked all them out. And then I saw personal management, and he talks about negotiating contracts, 3-year teacher contracts as member of administrative negotiation team. So I figured the more the better we had in that area. So I checked that off. So I just went by as many people as possible. I mean, as many subject areas as possible as they covered. I didn't see that.
You need some water?
I think I am gonna take that water.
Yeah, but see, I done drunk out of that, but I go get you some.
Them are the only high ones you got, Marie.
Well, I'm going
Yeah.
through the six,
Yeah,
right, the
them are the only
sixes.
ones that had 6.
Okay, so those are the, there's none that have 7.
No.
Okay. These 3 candidates had 6 on the first pass. Okay, so 6 board members submitted those numbers. Then I think it goes to 4.
There's some 4s.
Thank
There's There's a couple fours.
Right.
There's 3 fours.
Is there a 5? I don't think there is.
No, there's 2. They've got 4.
Number 7 got
7's
4.
got 4
And 11 has 4.
and 11.
7, 11.
2 has
2
2, 7,
Seven.
and 11.
and 11, yeah. And a 4 would be would be considered a majority of the board. I don't know if we would want to go to anybody that had less than 4 votes.
And how many is that? 7?
Unless you want to discuss it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
What was that again?
Who's got, okay, and how many we got?
The
that have
first
Looks like you got
three?
7 up there, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, 6, okay.
So we got,
Well,
Because some of them I'm on the edge about, so.
Yeah.
like number 8, it's Sandy and Cheryl. I mean, they picked number 8, and that's, the next one's got 3.
Well, 8 was me, John, and Sandy.
Yeah, but John's not here.
So what
We
you
can't
trying-
count, we can't get John's opinion out, that's the thing, so.
And then,
I'm okay, I'm,
Ms. Bowles, or Tamika, which do you prefer?
It don't matter.
Okay. You still want 23 on there, correct? Is that what you were saying?
I was just looking at, I do, yeah. But I mean, it's what the board decides.
let me look at her again. I'll tell you what I'm,
Which one was that?
number 8. If I went,
We looked at that one. I think it's
Are there let's,
no, 126.
okay, 11 had 4. Are there any others that you're looking at that you feel strongly that you know, that are not on this list that you still want
I saw that. She was,
some thought of considering? Because if not, then we can eliminate those down to 3, 6, 8, and then sift from here, because you still have too wide of a, unless you want to add a couple of days of interviews.
Would it just be more wise to add a couple more days of interviews this time around? Because I don't wanna rush it.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. What happens, though, is when candidates know they're one of 8, they know the board was, that you were bringing in people who you can't be as strong feeling about. There's got to be something in there. So let's talk about what you're feeling, what the questions are as to, or, you know, what you're seeing or someone else is not seeing. 8 is still an awful lot to do as a first cut for a size of the district that you are, very honestly. But if the board decides they want to do 8, then, you know, that's within the realm of the board.
So I guess, I mean, so what you're saying is, ask Tamika what she really likes about 23, that's making that person
Okay.
come to the top of the pile. So what is it you like about 23 to, I
Okay.
guess?
Where's the sheet? Oh, here it is. Like I said, I was just looking at the areas of stuff that they covered already. I went through and I looked at the experience that they had, and then, after that, the main area that I looked at was 4. And I went down that they had the curriculum development experience, and then I looked for personnel management next, and I found all of that which in the resume area that talked about that, as well as the contract administration and negotiation part. So I counted up the amount of X's that I had, and that's what I was looking at. And I looked down from the curriculum director, like all of the little bullets area, all the way down. And that's how I did for all of mine. And that's how I picked them out. So,
I mean, you were the
it
only,
was more of, you know, looking at what they had to bring to the table versus,
Right.
seemed like all of them had predominantly their bells and whistles. You know, so I was like, okay, so I'm looking beyond the education area. So then I went to the experience and I said, okay, now, may not have experience in that particular area, but when I look at what it is that we were looking for, And I was like, okay, well, they do have some experience in the area of negotiations. Would we rather have someone that has the experience as a superintendent, but then has no experience as in the negotiation area, or do you want somebody that has more experience in that? So I looked at, okay, we've had people that have had experience in the education area that lack the other areas, and we were trying to figure out. It brought weaknesses on our team, so I was like, okay, so let's flip it this time around.
I'm just curious why a curriculum director would be in negotiation of teacher contracts, but, I mean, it seems like that would more fall into the HR department, but,
See, we will never know that stuff
Right.
unless we can actually,
right, I understand, I'm
you know what I'm
just,
saying, like interview them. Then we could ask some questions, and we might even find out they tell us more than what we need to know in the interview.
But when we interview, it's a set selection of questions that we
same questions
rubric.
for everybody, so.
So all candidates will all answer the same questions.
Right, unless you have one specifically kind of targeting that person, but everybody still gets asked.
Yeah, everybody has,
Because you want to make sure it's
Yeah.
fair.
For that first
everybody
one.
has have the same question. Well, I was looking at, I think I was one from number 8. I mean, I'm okay, since there's only 3 of us. I was just looking at some of her strong points. She had assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction. She just had some experience with 21st Century Grant, just a lot of different things that I looked at, positive behavior, all kind of just little things. But I'm okay, because there's some stronger candidates, so I'm okay with pulling her off. I don't have a problem with that. Sandy. I think it was me, Sandy, and John.
John, yeah.
Because there's other candidates I feel stronger about, so I'm okay.
Is number 7 up there?
Number 7 is there. Let's try this.
I would say 2, let's remove.
Let's see if, okay, you've got 1, 2,
We got
3,
8
4,
candidates.
5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. See if you can take, of those 8, your top 4. Pick 4.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my question is in regards to out-of-state candidates. When you are offering or requesting that they come to interview, whose expense is that?
First interview is at the expense of the candidate. Second interview is at the expense of the district, usually.
Okay.
So candidates are usually told, to be prepared to cover the cost of the first interview.
Okay.
But if you're inviting them back at that point, the usual expectation is that the district would cover the costs.
Okay.
I mean, unless we was just going by this, the chart, you could easily say, okay, well, we know for a fact, looking at the chart, everybody likes 7, predominantly everybody likes 11, everybody like 12, everybody like 15, and take them out and say, we automatically know we don't need to talk about them because that's
Right.
predominant,
So
so
those-
that we don't
You
have.
could
Number
circle,
one
yeah,
is
you
two.
could circle
Yeah, number
1. We
one.
know that's one. That's one.
Right.
12 and 15 are,
So then
Or
we-
for sure.
So if you saying that you
Okay,
only want the top
one thing
5,
about it, you had those numbers fall out when you were allowed to pick 10 or 12 people.
right,
but you might
Okay.
not put them at 1 and
You may not
5.
put that, they may not have been the
Gotcha.
first or second choice, is what I'm saying. So that's why my suggestion is to narrow, we can do it whichever way you want. If everybody sitting here says you want to consider interviewing 1, 12, and 15, I'm good with that, okay? The
I
question
think-
is, how many do you want, beyond that to interview?
that would be that was my
But
thing.
what happens because what happened was not everybody gave the same number of choices going through, and it comes down for someone and I'm going to just use 1 because it's the first number, but 1 might have been a person's first choice, it might have been someone else's 8th choice, but it still comes up as a majority. So, it's now what my question is, in relationship to these 8, are those still your first 3 choices? Because that's what it would have to be for everybody, is the first three choices.
I have to go back through and look at it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's why you're gonna want to go back and pull out just those and take a look at,
Question mark because of that. She started the chart. Found it.
number one, and let me just kind of recap for you. Candidate number one is at a charter school.
Yeah, that was,
Okay.
That was
those were
my
huge
question mark.
reservations.
That
That's
was
why
my
I just
question
like,
mark.
Totally
Oh,
pulled her
okay.
out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if we took, I think if we took the other ones out for charter school, it's only right that we take that one out too, to be fair.
yeah, because that was my one reservation about her, him, the person.
That person.
Person, sorry.
The,
So are we good with taking number one off the running because they were from a charter school?
What I was going to just try and do is just hit some highlights about the people. Okay, has a doctorate, is at a charter school, has extensive experience both in our country and outside the country. Number 12 has a doctorate, is a sitting superintendent. And both those first two candidates, in fact, I think all of your candidates have had experience in diverse districts of different sizes.
Well, one nice thing about somebody that comes from a charter school is they know that they're not gonna stay in business if they don't do whatever is the best. And she mentioned she has a conservative budget. I mean, they're a for-profit, and if they don't make a profit, they're gonna be replaced, and we want somebody that's gonna watch the pennies.
But then again, on the downside of charter schools, a lot of charter schools aren't dealing with unions either.
they're not dealing with union, they're gonna,
They don't deal with
can-
unions and a lot of that stuff. Am I correct, Rebecca? On that, so
And they
that
don't
could be
deal
a,
with-
that could be a
don't
hard
do the
part when
same
you start dealing with administrators and stuff.
The
too.
majority, and I don't know that I could say that all, but the majority of charter schools have all at-will employees.
Correct, and
So-
they don't contribute to the MIPSR system, which adds another complication to your budgeting.
So if you being conservative budget, yeah, that's one thing, but if you're not
Yeah, you can
worrying
afford
about
it.
unions
You're
and
not used to it.
negotiations, you don't have that experience, that could throw some problems in there.
Also, too, for me, the charter school issue is they can cherry pick their students. They're not,
They wait till that count, then they kick them out.
yeah, so, I mean, when you're talking about having to educate.
My silence doesn't mean I'm
public as a
agreeing with that or
whole.
disagreeing.
Pardon me?
I said my silence with that does not mean I'm agreeing or disagreeing,
Yeah,
but
no, that's just one of my personal.
I guess to help Maria out, I mean,
I'm okay with no.
so taking number one off, is everybody
I'm
want?
okay with it. I don't know about everybody else, but I am.
I mean, with the charter school and not dealing with unions and stuff, I
I
think,
say no, because, just because there's a lot of things in the public's, and
yes.
at the head and being, yeah, it's a lot different. It's a lot different.
Tamika?
Not saying they can't learn,
Yeah, I
but.
didn't-
But were they all
didn't like number
charter
one?
schools she
I
worked
liked
at?
her, but.
What- yeah, with the
I
charter
did too.
school, not
When
dealing
I
with
looked
unions,
at,
right?
I didn't see any public school experience
No,
whatsoever.
Okay.
there wasn't any.
So that was my, I mean,
That was
I
my
could
question
have,
mark.
I could have made an
Well-
exception if there had have been some, but I didn't see any.
But I guess what Maria needs to know is if we're all agreeing to taking number one off.
Oh, I didn't put it on. there.
Well, there's, was the one in DPS is Pershing. There's a lot of DPS. Are these all charters now?
probably at the
Probably,
time
yeah.
that the person was there, it would not have been a charter. All of DPS is not charters now.
Oh, yeah, I know. I mean, I'm talking about this particular, I was just wondering if some of these are. Oh, yeah, I know they don't have, they have,
Page is that?
a lot of it's
Got
still public.
everything on here.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
It's administrative experience. It has, Cody,
Okay.
Pershing.
Murray Wright would have been in 91 to 2001, so that would have been a DPS, Detroit Public.
Supposed to.
So we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So are we,
Of 5 of 430. So that's what I'm, because she has a lot of, because she's been at this one school for what, 4 years now?
what about the, I can't see. It's number 10 on that list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, she got a strong, I mean, if you look at it, she's got a strong background and stuff.
Yeah.
But that charter
Graduating at
school
least
not dealing with
90% of
unions is gonna
students,
throw a
ensuring
fault.
at least 90% acceptance to colleges and universities, and that's what we're about.
Well,
True. But you have
But then I looked at, I compared her to number 10, and I'm looking once again at that area number 4, and he has public, or they had public relation, human resource experience. They had budget development. They're more. It looks like they were more. They're right. They work with Taylor, and we're Romulus. So when I looked at just the stuff that they have, even though like I see here on number 1. They had the doctorate, but I'm still looking at that area 4. They have more stuff in 4 that fits it. What we're looking for with the personnel management, the contract administration, negotiation, budget development. The only thing that I saw off of this particular one that's not listed is the curriculum development area. I didn't see anything in there. But then again, on the one that we're talking about, I only have check 3 that they have. So I'm kind of looking at it like, if we were to say we're going to take this one and put to the side and put in a different one, we can make up for some of the qualifications that are on the one that we're questioning with another one that we have already in the budget, that's already in our pile, that's not even up there on the table.
I can tell you why I didn't vote for her.
That's the only thing that got me with her. I had her in my
Okay,
list.
she's still a question mark, so let's,
Yeah,
can
because
we
it says
go?
taught, trained, mentored, and supported administrations and support staff in the scheduling and pupil accounting process in conjunction with the Detroit Public Schools Department of Pupil Population and Management,
I don't know, I just kind of
resulting
look
in
at
more
these, to
effective
me,
student scheduling in secondary schools and markedly improved efficiency in pupil.
Okay, I'd suggest that you not read read directly from their application. If you can summarize, that would be great, but,
You're right, but I'm just saying, it looks like she had a lot
She
of,
does have a lot.
I mean,
to
it,
offer.
it probably would be, since all the board members have a copy, if you just direct them to the page number, that would be better.
right.
Well, all I'm saying is, if that's the one that the board decides to go with, I wouldn't be able to make a decision on that because I eliminated some other people based upon that same criteria, and it wouldn't be fair because they were working for a charter school or something with charter school. So it wouldn't be fair. I couldn't do it.
Now, are any of the other ones that we have up there affiliated with? I can look too. I thought I had a list. Teresa, you got a list?
I want to
I'm
say no,
looking.
but I want to make sure.
Cause she's got a lot, she has a lot to offer. That was my, and I had a big question mark because of that.
Yeah, she does have a lot to offer.
Your number 7 is basically, I'm not that familiar with Arizona, but basically Indian reservation, very small.
well, small.
All the experiences, you know,
275 students, yeah.
is very small compared to, but I would not say it doesn't look like it's charter.
I guess my question would be, would they be willing to,
8 is public school.
I like the information about the deficit.
Yeah,
which
that
one
was
is that?
It was
Which one is that?
out of all of the resumes I saw, I like that this particular resume was different.
number 7.
Yeah, it was straight to the point. It
Right.
was-
Zal, the
Yeah.
one bites
Got-
me in
yeah.
deficit and
I like him. I
There was
just,
special education.
I would, if
I did
nothing
see
more,
that.
like
Yeah.
to see what he had to offer.
That was,
me
yeah.
too, I did.
Data driven.
It's 4 of us.
next to him and they do it.
Some of the key words.
Yeah, I picked him up right away.
The rest are public schools.
So do you want us to just go through and rank?
What I'd like you to do is, if you're comfortable with, because now I'm hearing that we're not even completely, but there's a majority of the board at least still with 7 out of the 8 that you have, but still looking to narrow that down. to possibly 6 if possible. I mean, unless you're saying that as you know, and that's the question you have to answer, is as you look at those resumes and as you look at the candidates and the experience, are you saying that they are equally strong? That your candidate number,
What was our criteria?
Is the arrow on here? It is freezing.
yeah, that candidate number 15, which at some point had 6, is equally as strong as candidate 11. So what I'm saying is, if the board decides that you want to interview 8, and you can honestly say that all 8 of those are people that you, by looking at paper, you would be comfortable having that person be your superintendent, unless you find something different in the interview, that's fine. If you're looking to interview just to get to a magic number, like the more we interview, the better we'll be looking, that's what I'm trying to eliminate, is to narrow it down to what you're serious, because what's going to happen, okay, if you remember the last time, when you start to get to the 4th, the 5th interview, you're tired, and you're almost to the point of, you know, very honestly, almost glazed over. And the question was, why did we have this many? Was it really, because I asked the question, early, and then we'll go into that with that second interview, is what is it more that you need to know? So that's kind of the question that we're going to have to fight with. Once you get it narrowed down to the number of candidates, what is it that you need to know from the candidates that wasn't in their application, besides personality, besides, because that's part of what, the interview, but what's the other information? Because you have a lot of information on some of them
And
on
not
paper,
enough
on
on
others you don't have any,
Right.
but you're still saying, yep, I'm strong, and I think that would be a good superintendent for us. So what I'm trying to do is get you to narrow that, unless you're saying that you want 7, you want 6, you want 8.
Can we see what we, can we see what we come up with? Let's see if we can narrow this down, maybe? Because that's how many up there? 1, 2.
8.
Because I think Sandy and I were both comfortable with removing number 8, but John's not here,
Right.
so.
Well, if you and Sandy remove number 8, then they're down to a 1 vote.
there's only
And
one.
then
Yeah,
one-
so might
and
as
that
Well,
was
and
cut.
he's not here, very honestly, he's not going to be able to,
He
he
can't.
can't go any forward with the selection beyond.
Yeah, he probably
Right.
won't care.
Right.
I mean, he'll care, but he'll probably be okay with what we do.
I knew he wasn't, just put this on the record, I knew he wasn't coming, so I told John to send his choices to Marie, because she would be, I didn't want to see them. And that she would be an impartial person.
And-
And that way, that they would be considered in the initial, at least his numbers would be considered in the
And the
initial
only
going up.
other piece of information that Mr. Thede gave, and I'm comfortable enough to repeat that here, is that he said, I think applicant number 8 could fill our curriculum spot, maybe. So 8 was that, but that's the only one he said anything about.
Yeah.
Um,
So
That
acuities
hurt,
I
yeah,
was looking
it
at.
was another one too, so that would be a thought.
Okay, so if you
So are
can.
we all comfortable
Let,
with
let's
say
let's
that.
back
I can't
this
say
up.
that.
How many, without looking at the applicants, okay, what's the maximum number? Because I thought we had a different number before, but what's the maximum number that the board wants to interview?
I would want to do any more than 6.
I was gonna
I
say
would say
6.
6 would be my max, too.
5 or 6 is fine with me.
Yeah.
Because like you said, what's gonna happen is when you get number 1, by the time you get number 8, you're gonna be just staring at the wall, and you're not really gonna,
Not paying
you're not
attention.
really gonna hear what they're, because you're like, oh
Tired,
my
they're
gosh,
tired.
the last one, finally. I mean, there's gonna be some of us who are gonna be sitting here thinking that, and you're gonna miss something, so it's best to,
I think at the first
But
time.
I agree,
Yeah.
I'll scratch number 8, and if Cheryl's scratching number 8, you can take number 8 off there.
So that gets us down to what, 7?
Yeah, we're down to 7.
right, well, it was only them 3 that had it.
It's only 3 of us.
So number 8's
Our
off.
thing, I mean, before we did a lot of interviews. The first time around, I think we did 3 days.
There were two or 3 nights.
Yeah, we did like 3 nights.
I remember that.
So,
And
I think if we have,
I mean, are
If
we
Marie,
looking to
if
hurry
you-
up the process?
if you are,
So
no,
if we are,
if
then-
you,
We're not looking to hurry
our
up the
thing
process,
is,
we're just trying to make
no,
it where we
I'm
pay
just
attention
saying,
to
no,
what
I
we
was
got.
saying if we have strong candidates that we feel, like you said, that we really want to interview, then I think that's the number we go with, but we need to
Right.
probably get it down to what we really think that number is. And if it's more than 6, if it's 7, or whatever it is, if we think that strongly about it, then we just have to take the time to do what we gotta do.
So do you think it's better then that we sit and we just pick out our top 4 for each person, and then we go through that and pick out the rest?
Probably.
If you're saying that, okay, the max that ideally you want to interview is 6, okay?
I said 8, but I can go with 6.
If you, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to do 8, you're going to have to add at least 1 day, if not 2 more days, to your interview schedule, because it's not fair to the candidates, it's not fair to you as board members. So if you're prepared to add that into the schedule, that's fine. But you don't want to do, unless you're going to do them all day long, but you don't want to start at 5:30 at night and do 4 interviews at 2 hours
That's what
apiece.
we did before, we were here like.
And we were here till 10, one night, we were here till almost 11 o'clock.
Actually, why
Mm-hmm. And
can't
you were
we-
doing 3 a night then, I
why
believe.
can't, why can't we do interviews on Saturday? What's the
You
problem?
can. I mean, as long as we can get everybody
It'd be a
here.
long day, but you'd have them
As
all
long as
done.
it's advertised.
It's a long day, but you'd have, because, I mean, honestly, I know Cheryl, myself, I'm not sure what hours Tamika works, but Sandy, she gets up early in the morning, you got kids you gotta get off, Danielle's gotta get kids off, I mean, you're here till 10, 11 o'clock at night, 2 or 3 nights in a row. That third night, you're gonna be dragging. Because you're just like, you know, you're not gonna pay it, you're not gonna give it 100%, because you're tired and you wanna go home.
Well, we have 2 nights on the calendar right now.
Right now.
So what's the most you do in one night, Marie? 4?
If you're doing, well, we can do,
No, I think we did 3, didn't we? I'm sorry.
I think 3 is going to push it to getting to those late, because they're basically an hour and a half. And one of the things I heard
thought
very
when we did
clearly
the
from
one
the
time
board
for
is they
hours, it
wanted
was like
more
an hour,
time in
45 minutes to
between.
an hour.
Because I think I did 15 minutes in between, and that basically, I heard back, was not enough time. So if we're doing it an hour and a half, or taking it down to an hour and 15 minutes, and then a half hour in between, so we're still at almost 2 hours. So 5:30, roughly about
7:30. Gosh.
7:30, okay, is your second
9:30.
interview. Your third interview is starting at about 9 o'clock, 9:30.
Well, see, I got some on here too that like you said earlier, I don't feel like it's enough information that they have given, and I would not mind being able to ask them some questions.
And I'm going to tell you that as a candidate applying for a position, they should be able to give you enough information that when you see that application, you want, that's the person that, you know what, you feel very strongly, and I think you have some of those that you felt real strongly.
Right.
Then there were some that, well, maybe there is, but again, they did not give you enough information. That's on
Right.
that's on the application.
Right, but it
the
wasn't
applicant.
because-
Resume should
it-
clear up anything too.
It wasn't because they did not feed, like they didn't do the requirements, like they didn't have, like the requirement that we have for the education. They did not have the requirement that we have for the experience. It wasn't because of that. It was more like when I looked at number 7 and some of these other ones, they went into detail specifically with what it is that they did. Where the other ones, they may have covered it, but it was more of a small summary. It's more of a
But
small.
There's
they didn't-
usually
and
a
every
reason
resume
somebody
is
would,
written
there's
differently,
usually
so
a
you
reason
can't say
somebody
that.
would do that on a resume though.
Well, I look at it this way, when you go for a resume, you put everything, your best foot forward, because that's your
Right.
first stop to
Yeah,
get in the
that's
door.
good.
If you don't have it on the resume, when we read it, no matter if it's superintendent or working at McDonald's, if you don't have it on that first step, you're not gonna get through the door to the second step. So, and these are educated people, they should know that part there to make sure they got their best foot forward. And if they didn't put it on there, I mean, honestly, that's their mistake, not
Unfortunately, I
ours.
do this all-
But
I
I can
go through
understand what you mean, you
resumes
wanna
all
ask
the
more
time.
questions, but
I do this
So
all
right
the
now
time.
we have
Majority
what?
of the board.
If she, if we
They don't
removed
They don't have what I'm
8,
looking- I just delete,
You have
delete,
7.
delete.
we have 7 candidates up there right now.
Let me ask you to select
4? I can do that.
select 4. Let's see what happens if you select 4, the top 4. And we will see where the strength is, how far apart you are.
Out of those that are there.
Out of these
Out of
7.
not off of
No, off those 7.
Out of these 7, pick your top 4.
I gotta go back to my notes.
So then I'm gonna just go back to this list that we did, and I'm gonna go to pick out the ones that had the most, and then pick those out of there, cause at least they're gonna be part of that at least, right?
Maybe.
Select on your own, however you choose to select.
Sound right. I can't see. Thanks.
Just give you our 4, or do you want them ranked 1 to 4? Just 4, okay.
I couldn't rank mine, I'm just.
I couldn't write mine if I
Yeah, I
tried.
couldn't either, so that's why I asked.
So the third.
All I did was I took, these are the same numbers, I just put them in numerical order here.
Yeah.
That's all the differences, these are in numerical order. These are the same numbers, but you told me to take out number 8.
Right.
So I'm just
Okay, you
going
want me
through
to
and see
give you
what I
mine?
chose.
I'll give you mine, so that way we can get started. No particular order, 2, 11, 12, 15.
I can give mine then.
Okay.
I'm exactly the same as Tom.
I have a
Oh, that's scary if we're thinking alike now.
question in regards to,
Well, only it would have been different, because I was
Yeah.
thinking 1, but
Yeah, the charter schools
they
look at
kind
me.
of flipped me on that, so.
Yeah,
I have a
But
question.
when you
Yes.
see all the grant money that she brought in, it's hard to give up that.
but then
know.
again, Sandy, charter schools get a little bit more
They got different
privilege
funding.
on things. They got different set of
Have
rules than
access to
public
it.
schools,
Yeah, they
okay?
have access to
But
it.
who's
They
to
got
say
different.
she doesn't still come in? We're
You
looking
know-
at 4 people right now. We could.
Okay.
Candidate 2, would they need Michigan certification licensing?
I think they had it.
'Cause I didn't see anything.
All of their licensing is in Ohio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What did we say about number 12? I got something. What did we say about number 12?
But that wouldn't matter because it's recognized, right?
Usually there's the reciprocity, they'd have to get it. What the state requires for, basically a school administrator is a valid school administrator certificate or be enrolled in a program leading to certification as a school administrator not later than 6 months after he or she begins the employment. The person then has 3 years to complete certification requirements of the school district, or you shall not continue to employ.
But you checked that when you put these forth, correct, as far as what their credentials were? Is that what MASB did?
Does MAS, we don't go back and, we go
Verify.
based on what they've said they have. So basically, it'd be up to that person to produce that before they would negotiate, or, your contract would be contingent upon them being able to meet that.
Right.
Usually Ohio, there is not, normally there's not a problem.
Right.
So that was,
Arizona, I don't know, I'm gonna be perfectly
yeah,
honest.
that was what was missing for me from number 2.
Okay, I can't see it again.
I got two, well,
17, so 17 is not.
what did you say about Arizona?
I don't know about
Same with
Arizona.
the, certification.
Yeah, okay.
I know of administrators that have gone from Michigan to Arizona without a problem. I don't know of anybody that, I personally don't know of them. But again, I would believe, and I believe the one with Arizona was originally like maybe Ohio. So again, you know,
Well. Did you tell us something about candidate 7? I thought I
Just
had-
that he,
Small
when we were talking about
students.
Charlotte, it was, he
Okay.
worked with a small student,
Okay.
yeah, base.
Population.
Okay, but I'm picking out the ones. So out of those, that's what you want us to rank, right? Not necessarily the ones we pick, but
yeah, right.
those.
Out of these 7,
Narrow it, you're
To
narrow
4.
to 4.
okay.
Not necessarily first choice, second choice. Correct.
correct.
I'm having trouble with my last pick.
I only got 2.
I got 2 picks. Still like number 1, but
I wish I put my spreadsheet on my head.
Okay.
let me look at her. I'm almost done, so I just need to look at somebody here.
So I'm looking for number 3.
See what she liked about number 11. Where's she at? That's what I want to look at. 185? Oh, you already there? Okay, let me look at her again. Okay. Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
2, 11, 12, and 15.
Yeah, 12's there.
Okay. I put 7. No order either. 12, 11, and 23.
Sandy?
I'm probably gonna go. I guess for me, number 2 was the fact that that person was big in county involvement, but not so much local involvement. So I'm probably gonna go small. I'm gonna go 7, 11, 12, 15.
to, I'm sorry.
No, 7, 11, 12, 15.
7,
Go do it again, Steve.
11,
12 and 15.
15.
Daniel? And I think Cheryl, right?
No,
Cheryl did.
Already did.
There you go.
I'll be this bill.
Huh?
I'm on it.
That's the one with the misspellers.
Oh,
That's funny. That's hilarious. That's funny. If he get in there, that is funny.
Who you talking about, Tamika? Number who?
number 2 spelled school wrong.
Oh,
Oh,
It'd be different if it's in the middle of the document. It's right in the beginning
It's
of
the
the
title.
document. How do you miss
She don't
that?
like-
even. Y'all
How do you miss that?
she funny. She don't like that at all.
That's funny. And we tell our kids to expect the
Well,
best.
that's right, maybe he's stronger in math than
English.
he's a math person, not a
Spell, you know
word-
what? Spell
a number
check is
person, not
a
a
spell
word
check
person.
is a wonderful thing.
And if that was it, that he was a strong math person and
You know
not
when
a
I'm sending
strong
out my
word person, then I
emails.
better should change mine to 2.
Who else? Who else gotta go?
Danielle.
Just you?
7. 11. 12. 15.
Looking at this, okay, you have 11, 12, and 15, okay, is where, when you could only pick 4 instead of your 6. What happened is number 1 went away, and that's what I was trying to say, is that sometimes happens, that someone's the tail end, but if you're gonna narrow it through. So based on these numbers, okay, are you comfortable asking for those 3 for interviews?
I am.
Yeah, the majority
Okay.
have got it.
So now, that's 3. I'm gonna go back to my question originally, and I think what I heard you say is that you didn't want to do more than 6. I heard 5, I heard 6, and then I heard one board member say 8. Okay?
But Tamika said she was okay with 6.
Okay, so we're at 6. Okay, so,
Oh, the board member
Yep.
said it.
okay, so you've got 3. Okay? So let's take the ones that are left. 11, 12, 15.
Well, you got 6 that have votes, so.
Well, what it basically is if you could put your if you could put your next vote in, and this time you don't have to have 2. You've got 1, 2, 7, and 23. Okay? 1 had no votes at all.
Take them out.
Okay? 23 had 1 vote. So my question is, this one only had 3, okay, and this one only had 3. So again, you're still at the point where they're not going to have a majority of the support of the board. Okay, so looking at 1, 2, 7, and 23, taking a look at, 23 was the person who I believe you said was strong in all areas, did not have a doctorate, had extensive experience up to the level of central office, I believe. 7. I have a blank on, so hang on, let me find out what 7 is.
Honestly, I'd be surprised, even if we keep 7 up there.
Oh, that was
7,
the interview.
7 may decline on the
May
interview.
decline
that
just
they
because
Like I
of
said,
where
it
they're
might take
located.
care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, because once they know what the salary is and stuff, maybe they forget it, you know, you never know. I mean, they may fly, who knows?
Right.
We don't know what their situation is, but there's a chance that 7 could drop out voluntarily.
I said, let's see though.
But it-
Same thing
but
with
it
number
does-
2. Number 2 is an out-of-state one too. They could drop out. They're 220 miles
we
away,
gotta
so
do
they may
this
not
all
want to
over
move their families either. So you never know. So I
And actually, I never really thought about, but you're right, number 7 would be so small, they're not used to unions and stuff.
I like number 7.
I did.
I like
I did
number
too.
7. I like what he
did too.
said.
I
do
did
too.
too.
I would like to see if he would like to, I would be more than willing, or she or he would like to, I'd be more than
Them.
willing. Them, if they would like to, I would be more than willing to put them on that list.
That was the reason, I must
I
have
mean,
thanked her.
I put 7 and 2 on
put
there, and
7
then
and 2
if he
on
put,
there.
if 7 pulls his application because it's too far him to go, because he knows
I
he's
say
gotta put
7,
the tab,
just give it a
then,
shot.
you know, we can open the door to them, but
Right.
if they pull it because of their own willingness, that's different.
Those 5, or did you want
You wanna put
another one on?
just in
No,
case?
it's 5's up there and so's 2, I mean, 7's up there and 2's up there that she put.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Right,
good.
but if they
I'm good.
pull, do you want an optional one there, or do you just wanna just say, well, we'll just go between 11, 12, and?
Yeah, if they pull it, they pull it. I mean, that's what she's
I
trying
say
to
we're
get at the
good.
final number.
I'm good with those.
She's trying to get a final number, right, for what we got. So if 3 of them pull, we're not gonna replace them with anybody, that's correct? What
That
we're-
would be my recommendation, that you
Okay.
do not replace them, that you interview the remaining candidates.
So if we say that's the pool,
So
That's
if
the
you,
top
if,
5.
and 7 says, I don't wanna interview, then we don't replace them.
Right.
You don't recommend replacing them with another candidate.
I would not at that point, unless you've gone through your entire pool. So what I'm saying is, if there's someone that's left, and I guess we're down to 1 or actually 23 or 1.
I think one, everybody
One,
agrees
one
is
nobody
out.
voted for, so they're out, as far as I'm
So you have
concerned.
23 that has 1 vote.
I take 1 out because nobody even did it on the second round. They didn't get 1.
And I'll be honest, I don't know if you extend an interview to 23, because one of the questions, very honestly, that they'll ask me is how strong is the support of the board for their candidacy? You know, and because candidates understand the round of how far they're going. So the question is, how strong are they? My response back, since this is a public meeting, would be that, you know, there was support from 1 board member.
And then
I don't know that they would interview.
They
You
would
don't
probably
know that
pull
they
their name
wouldn't
off, but I mean,
You don't know that they wouldn't either.
right, but I mean,
Yeah, but, I mean, I had to give up
I-
one that I liked, but I mean, on number 8, because that, you know, I felt kind of strongly about
mean-
that, but I'm okay with those 5.
With these 5?
Good.
personally, I'm okay. I mean, I understand, I respect Tamika's vision of what she sees, but I didn't see what she's seeing in it, but I mean, that's why there's 7 of us to get to pick this.
Right, I agree. I didn't see the vision in 15 either, but it's 7, so.
Right. I mean,
So if this is what, it's the pleasure of the board, then what we would need is a motion that would authorize or invite candidates 2, 7, I'm going to do them numerically. 2, 7, 11, 12, and 15 for interviews. And just, again,
now we're gonna split that over 2 nights, right?
yes. At least, yes.
2, 7, 11, 12.
Now, you're gonna set up who's interviewing what night?
Yes.
It's the interview nights.
So, let me ask you this, let's throw a wrench in the factor, because we got 2. Let's say you call number 2, number 2 says, nope, I don't wanna go, it's too far, I rethought about it, whatever. Number 7 says they don't, so, let's say the 6th of May, we're doing our first interview, and 11 says they want it, so you'll put them in the first spot, is that how you do it, the first one that accepts?
Normally, as a courtesy, you do an internal, if there are internal candidates, you offer them the interview first.
I'm just
Right.
going in numerical order, I'm
But-
not saying who's
right.
who, I'm just
So,
saying, you're just going, if 2
Basically,
drops.
what I would do is I would take whatever the time slots are, and we'll determine that before we leave here, what are the time slots. And then the first person that I call, okay, and usually that's an internal candidate, and say, okay, they're usually offered the first because they're internal, or the last, depending on what the board's perspective is. That you usually put them first or last. Then the others, I will usually go to the out-of-state candidates, because they're the ones that have to make arrangements to get here and say, okay, these are the slots that are available. and then I just take the next one's numerically usually,
Okay.
and it usually works out.
But
And,
before,
and
before,
sometimes, very honestly, sometimes if I, go all the way through and I get to the last person, they say, you know what, I absolutely cannot make that time. I'll go back to someone else and say, well, are you willing to switch it? So I
okay, let's
work that
say
around.
this, you call the first candidate and they say, no, I want to withdraw my name. I've reconsidered. You'll email us and tell us candidate
Yes,
whatever said they withdrew, so that way we know before the meeting, we're not surprised, right?
yes.
Okay.
Because what'll happen is once the board votes to invite people to interview, I will contact them. As soon as they say, yes, they want to be interviewed, then their name is released as, basically becomes public knowledge as to who. So when you make the announcement, you're going to be announcing names.
Okay.
And at the same point, and, it's happened before, in that, because this is interview season, and normally people don't apply for just one district. Sometimes they do, but not, often they do not.
So they may
So
have
sometime in the
scheduled.
process, they may say, you know what, I was interested, I'm not interested now. Or they may go through the first interview and, what I'll usually do is, let's say, we set the interviews and the first person, the first interview slot says, I'm not going, I'm not interested any longer, then I'd move up everybody. So, it'll change, it may change a little bit.
Because they may have been interviewed for another district and been accepted a position, so.
Exactly.
Okay. But you'll tell us that if
Yes.
whatever number dropped and the reason why.
Yes.
Okay. So we need a motion?
Yes, I will need a motion to invite.
All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we invite the following applicants for the superintendent interviews, number 2, 7, 11, 12, and 15, and use numbers due to confidentiality.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Funderburg. Does this need to be a roll call vote?
Doesn't,
No? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And the next item on our agenda was communications and expressions from the public. And we have none. Questions and concerns of board members?
just send out what dates we're gonna actually do the interview, and then that's it, that's all I got.
And the
I don't-
times,
Yeah,
because,
please.
I
So
had
we're waiting
6
on, we're
PM
waiting on
mine.
you for that time.
Let's talk about the dates and the time, and I didn't bring my calendar in, so I
I thought we already had
apologize.
them.
Yeah,
Bill.
we do.
You've got the dates, and they're starting at 5:30,
Okay,
They're
that
May
was, I was,
20th and May 22nd.
okay?
so are we gonna go like an hour and 15 apiece?
I will block them out 2 hours apart, okay? So that basically the interview is an hour and maybe max an hour 15. Then that gives the board members like about a half, do you want a half hour in between?
Not if we're doing this, because
No,
one night's gonna
I'd
be
say
cramped, 15 minutes is
15
plenty.
minutes should work.
Okay,
For me.
15 minutes in between, then we'll do it, let's do it
Oh,
Hour
we're
and a
at,
gonna
half.
be doing it differently, because we're doing rubrics. That's what we want. There was interest in doing rubric on that, so are you gonna be able to score your card in 15 minutes in
No,
between?
ma'am.
You're gonna score your cut, you're gonna score them as they answer the question, correct?
Well, unless you
That's
ask
what I
it,
said.
not necessarily, because if you're asking the question and you're
Yeah.
listening, it's,
Right,
you
and
know,
writing notes and.
Right.
it's kind of hard to do,
So I think half hour is better.
especially if you're trying to,
Or
you know.
20 minutes.
20 minutes probably.
I can do whatever you want.
Does 20 minutes work for everybody? Or you wanna go 30?
Do 30, and if it.
Do 30, and if we do less, and the person's here, we can always go to the next interview, correct?
Start, right?
Yeah, if they're here early, then we're done, we can go, so
I
I guess.
have a,
So what would you put on the times then, subject to change or something when they get here? Could be earlier if the board's ready?
it just means
Well,
that
it
we'll
would
have
be
more
if
time
they're
in
ready.
between.
If they're
If they're
here.
here,
Yeah.
we would move them up.
Okay.
I usually tell candidates to come 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes ahead of time.
We had them.
So you're looking at an hour and 45
minutes
minutes per, an hour and 45 is what you're talking about slotting off, right?
Right.
So the first one's at 5:30,
So,
so the next one would be what, 6, 7 o'clock?
7:15.
7:15.
7:15?
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was an hour and a half. Oh, yeah, an hour and
The
45.
first one's at
15.
what time?
5:30?
And the next one would be what?
9 a.m. or 9 p.m.
7:15
And then you're
9
talking 10
p.m.
o'clock by the time you get out of here almost.
10:30?
10:45.
It could be 10:45.
Lord help us all.
Now, one of the things I'm going to do is suggest that if I take you back to the last interview, is to reduce the number of questions. Okay, because that's what part of the problem was, is that you had,
We had like 8 questions last time, I think.
I think you had more than that.
Some of them were
Um,
asking the same
Same
thing.
thing. Yeah,
It
we
wasn't
did
the
have that
questions, it
issue.
was their responses.
That's true.
Some of them
Some of
had
the responses
like
can go
30
on and
minutes
on.
long.
Right.
So.
So can
they
I
need
ask
to
you
be
this, Marie,
very
if you get the
to the
candidates, let's say for example, there's only
Time they
4
got a time
candidates, are you
base
gonna
to
try
do.
to do 2 on each day then?
Yes,
That way you don't schedule the one like 9 o'clock at night?
yes.
Because
Okay.
Marina, then before we did it like a time frame,
Yeah,
because
can you time their answers?
because if they don't finish the questions in their allotted time frame, if we only get through 3 questions, if they keep continuing to talk, that's all they get, right?
That's right. That's
Okay.
what
Cut 'em
happened
off.
last time, although I think the board extended the courtesy and let a couple of them go over their time.
Well,
But-
we won't really don't have the extra time to go over because we're going in. They've gotta
somebody
answer the
else's time.
questions and be detailed on it.
Right. So if we narrow down and reduce the number of questions, so in some of those, the first question is going to be the same always, and that's basically for them to explain what their background, to give a brief description of their background, because you have the information. What they're supposed to be doing that is for anybody who's in the audience, for the public. And sometimes what happens, and that's where some of them bog down, is they want to answer every question that may be asked in that first question. Again, I tell them that, how many questions there are going to be, how much time they're going to have to base, so that they time frame that they know it. Some people are better at interviewing than others, very honestly.
How many questions do you suggest?
Probably no more than about 10.
Oh, I was thinking less than that, but
Okay. What I will do is go back through and let's kind of talk about what is it, okay? Because one of the things you said is you want more information from the candidates. What is it that, I think this just went out.
Battery went good.
Is Steve here?
You could sit down and use one of the microphones you want, right?
I think our microphone went out.
You could take the next chair. That
Maybe
way,
I'll take the
next chair.
come over here next to Rebecca then.
sit next to Rebecca.
Marie, can you give us, can you like send us the questions we had and then we can get back with you? Because, if I can't remember what we asked and then we'll
Yes,
see.
but what my and what I'll do is I will craft some questions for you based on the information I'm going to get from you now. I assume that you want to know something in terms of their background and curriculum. Is that correct?
Finance.
Okay. Curriculum, finance, background in dealing with a deficit reduction plan. And what I will try and do is make those.
True to myself, I'd like something addressing special education also.
What about, can we say something about longevity or something? I don't know. Can we ask stuff like that?
Longevity in terms of how long they intend to be here? Is that what you're talking about?
What's their intentions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Well, that's right. That's true. Never mind, because they can say whatever
But
they want to say.
here you go. Hold them to the fire.
Okay, how I get right here? Okay, Buckley.
Sure, I'll take a 10-year contract.
I'm looking at the sheet, the criteria that we set up. And the areas of expertise that we rated was curriculum development, budget development, personnel management, community engagement, contract employee handbook administration, and then contract negotiations. Then under specialized skills, ability to recruit, manage, or develop high-quality staff, ability to build and maintain a strong and positive board administration relationship, and that might be a good question too, about board relationships. Visible and accessible to staff, students, and community. I think that would be another good one. Knowledge and experience in all financial matters. Other specialized skill we had was public and media relations.
Okay, and you're at about question number 13 now.
Okay.
So that's.
But some of those could be
What
combined.
I will do is I will craft those in those areas and some samples, and if there's something that's missed completely, or that you still want to see, I probably won't get those to you till more toward the end of the week. But I will actually come through and, because some, again, it may be a very easy question if someone's going to answer it straightforwardly, and they should be able to answer the question in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they don't want to answer it straightforwardly,
They go
they
way
take 10 or
around.
12 minutes. And and that's something for the board to recognize, that someone's trying to avoid answering the question.
You remember the last candidate we had, though, kind of Donald Trumpish?
Yeah.
And remember, we were sitting here, nobody knew how to interrupt and stop this
Yeah.
candidate.
Yeah.
So how do we avoid that?
In terms of stopping a candidate,
Whoever asked the question, say, I think you're getting off track, can you get back on,
Do that,
just-
or do you just say, okay, that, we're gonna go on to the next question, and do
Well,
you
I
cut
know
them?
at one point, here go.
if they're getting way off of track, we gotta reel them back into where we gotta be. I mean, you're giving us a lot of different, but tell us, we need to get back here on track on the thing. You're kinda going around, we need the straight road.
they
No,
Yeah.
actually,
People
if
wanna
you're
get it out
if you're interviewing and you are sticking to a time frame,
Yeah.
Right,
okay,
roll back.
you basically
Let 'em know
need to
how
let
many
the
more
person answer the question the way because that, one of the things with the interview is you're trying to get what their personality and how they're going to. So as opposed, it's not, it very honestly isn't the board's responsibility to get them back on track. They're supposed to know how to stay on track.
So if they only can answer
But-
4 questions in that hour and 15, that
Yeah,
kinda.
and
all
one
I'm
of the
saying,
things,
yeah.
I will be there, and I will probably try and gauge based on your facial expressions, because last time I tried not to interrupt too much. However, I think I probably should have cut a couple of them off. But I'll intervene and tell them, you have,
Well, you did that for a couple.
I
You
did.
for a couple, yeah.
And I think that was basically, so it's basically more my
So we
my
need to
role
really
to
decide
interview.
as a board, we're sticking to the 1 hour, 15 minutes, we're not giving anybody any extra time,
That's fine
right?
with me.
So I mean, if somebody just goes on and can't get all the questions,
Then, oh, well,
too
that's
bad.
on them.
I mean, that's their fault. They got 1 hour and 15 minutes to answer this.
And that's why I'm saying,
10
the
questions.
last time there were, and all of the questions were important, to the board to know. So we added them in, but we knew going in that some of them may go over. A couple of your candidates answered all the questions in the time frame and had time left over too. And, and I think and some of them answered the questions well in the time frame. But usually what happens in an interview is when people are searching for an answer, they tend to wander a little bit in their
Ramble.
response, hoping that they're going to give you more information about something else, and you'll forget that they didn't answer the question.
On a couple of them.
And
Donald Trump, I did.
and there were because there were a couple of times, the last one, and what, as I'm listening to those, to the interviews for the most part, but all I'm marking down is either answer the question, didn't answer the question, missed the mark, from the perspective of as listening to them.
I have to admit, I wasn't in the chair position that time, but I was watching you to kind of see, okay, is this going beyond? So I will be looking to you to kind of keep us on task, so.
And I will, and, so I'm going to submit to and what happened last time is we drafted the questions, and then I had a request back from some board members to say, can we also ask these questions? And when I added those in, that's what made it longer.
Right.
So I'm going to hold you to a fewer number of questions. So if I don't give you, if there's something let's say I forget and I don't put anything about deficit reduction, or you don't see the question there, then make sure ahead of time that you let me know, Marie, you know what, we still need to know something about deficit reduction,
Well-
so I'll swap it out.
I have one more area that I wanted,
Okay.
and you can see if it'll fit in, but one of the other areas that was on here, and I think it's important, was demonstrated ability to work with elected officials.
That's board relations, you had that on there already.
But that's not, I'm not saying us as elected officials, I'm talking about with state legislature and whatever, because when you're in a deficit, you're working with them.
Mostly.
I have a question, and I don't know if this would happen on the second interview or if we do it the first time. I know, sometimes when we have like, for other positions, we've had candidates actually have like a scenario essay that they have to do. Is that customary for superintendent search, or is it something that we could do, or what's the practice on that?
To have them write,
Yeah.
normally that's not part of, I mean, you can do that, but that's not normally part of a superintendent's,
Because we'll have like a scenario question, and then they'll answer it.
now, normally, in a superintendent's interview, and we can go to scenarios, we had some of those in the second one, is that we give them the scenario and they respond to that scenario verbally, as opposed to writing it out. And part of that is how quickly can you, you know, so if are you looking for, and that's normally the second interview. The first interview is to get background information about the person, you know, and as to where they're going. I can add some of those scenario type questions in and just eliminate something else. Because I think, for the
Wouldn't that
most
was-
part, you know the educational background of all your candidates, so that's not gonna be necessarily something that they're gonna have to expand on. But if there is something that you want them to come in prepared to answer, I can present that to them and say, okay, the first thing that you're gonna need to do is respond to this. So, but I'd say what you're asking for would be, if you're gonna do it, would be more of a second interview.
Okay.
Because then you can specifically tailor it to the candidate. Because it may be a different scenario per candidate, or it might be the same thing for each one.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so did you need anything else from us then, other than these
Nope.
question areas? And-
Nope.
Okay.
And we're on for May 20th at 5:30 and May 22nd at 5:30. Start times. Okay, and Tom said he didn't have any other concerns. Do you have anything, Tamika? Mrs. Kraut?
No, except that the 20th is the Student of the Month grand finale, and my granddaughter will be there, and I hate to miss it.
Cheryl?
No.
Danielle?
No, we have a few dates coming up with the senior awards banquet coming up on Thursday. Well, not this Thursday, but the.
Well, we got a meeting Monday,
15th,
we can talk about some of them too, so.
Yeah,
got
but
us stuff
on your, before our meeting Monday, if you're going to the student awards, thing, you have to RSVP by Friday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll think to do that.
I can give you the information here
I
real
did
quick.
that and left a message.
You
like
just
the
wanna,
Saturday
you just
if I
wanna
got
take
it.
you wanna take a list and let Ann call them in for us all?
It's the awards night is on May 15th at 6 PM.
You just wanna take a head count and let Ann know
I-
for everybody?
Well, yeah, I can have to call Kim Webb, but yeah. I can
Okay,
do
I'm
that.
going. Tamika, you going?
Yeah,
What
I'll be
day is
there.
that?
That's a Thursday.
Thursday, May 15th at 6 PM is the senior awards
Yeah,
night.
I'm there.
Okay, so Tom, Tamika,
Sandy?
Sandy, I know
I
will be
think I
there.
already left a message that Harry and I both would be there.
Okay, Cheryl,
Yes, I'll be there.
and I know Danielle will be there. And I will be there. Okay, I'll just let her know. I gotta check with John, but I'll let her know that we'll be a full board there.
I'd just put John on there, that way you got it covered. Cause it might be hard to get a hold of him, just cover it. I mean,
Yeah,
they're gonna cook enough food anyways.
I'll send him an email.
Because they have dinner.
Okay, that takes care of all of our business and concerns of board members. So I need a motion for
Madam
adjournment.
Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Funderburg. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries
7:50.
6-0. Our meeting is adjourned at 7:50.
Did you want these back?